Hello there. This right here is the Infinite Wall Builder, and I'm going to show you how to use it, how to get the best out of it, and how to understand all the controls. I mean, you've likely seen all of these nodes before if you've worked in Blender, so you should know how they work, but I'll explain how they all work together to get results. So this is part one, the color control, and there's a bit to get through, so we might as well get started. So the brick 1 color and brick 2 color here, I mean, there's one that I can see that pretty much represents that color, and excuse me, there's maybe one or a few that represent this color. So what the colors do is they just take colors between these two values and then just spread them across the wall, so you get this erratic random color effect. So you might, as I say, you can see those exact colors, like there is that blue, there, but the rest of it is a kind of mixture of, that's why we've got lots of purple. If I change that to green, we should get brown if my colors are right. Yeah, so we've got some briny mixtures in there, probably too much green. Dark green will do it. There we go. So we start to get brown. So you see what I mean? You're rarely going to see the exact color you want. There is an option to do that, and that is, which we'll get into in the brick mortar shape controls, and that's bias. This one here is the color, that's the displacement. We're going to get into this, but if you change the bias to say -1, it's only going to show one color. If you change the bias to 1, it's going to show the other color, brick 2. So at the moment that's 0.5 more towards brick color 2 than it is brick color 1, and at 0 it's a nice mix of both. So you can control how much of each color you want represented across the face. And here we've got, I'll do 1 because all of these value inputs pretty much function the same way, just dependent on what they're controlling specific to that filter. So each of the brick colors have a filter which will control how the colors are displayed. So if I put a second pip in here, and it's just something obvious, white. So now the color, this is controlling how these two colors are separated or distributed. So, and with all things Blender color ramps, the further apart the sliders are, the smoother the transition between the two colors you've got. So, and if I bring this one in, I'm telling Blender to give me more of this red, and if I bring this one closer, we'll start to see the contrast is harsh. And these filter scales, these scales here, these color detail, so if we put color detail of 2, it's going to look, you lose all that bittiness. If you put it at 0, it just becomes splodges. 16 is normally what I like, because that's the kind of effect I want. And the roughness, again, if it's at 0, it's just blotchy. If it's at 1, it's too, well, not 2, it depends on the effect you're after, but I think I had it on 0.8. And I think there's a spider on my leg. Get off. So yeah, and then if we go back to the color, only the ones with brick color 1 are going to be displaying this. This is also, I've put a bunch of these full material checks down the side. So once you're happy with it, all you got to do, assuming you've got Node Wrangler enabled, is Control-Shift-Click, and then you'll get back to seeing what you've done. So as you can see, brick color 1, these two different colors aren't affecting brick color 2. If we put another pip in here, let's change it to red. No, we've got red. Blue. So now you can see these colors are only on brick color 2. And they have the scale, again, Control-Shift-Click anything, you can see what the filter's doing, so you can see exactly what's happening when you change these values right here on the right hand side of the color ramp. So Control-Shift-Click that bad boy to get back involved, and let's remove the blue. I don't like it. I don't like it. And let's just have more red than white for a more natural color. So they're the brick colors. Excuse me, mortar colors. I'm just going to quickly do something which we will get into in the next tutorial. It's just going to reveal some mortar. So the mortar color, it's the mortar color. There you go. Does that. I believe it has a filter, so we can add more. What I normally do with, if I'm going to add a couple of colours, is mostly the reason I do that is because I want a kind of mossy effect behind everything. And you can add, as I say, you can add as many pips as you want, because normally when I'm doing moss I like a bit of yellowy, limey. Obviously that's way too far, so I just need to limit the areas that colour is going for. That's too much. So I won't spend all day on these, but you get what's going on here. All the colours function in the same way. You can change it as well to the distribution setting. I don't know what the name of that is. Oh, interpolation. The interpolation. So you can change that to be smoother. The B-spline is always B-spline. If you do constant, it's just stop. It's just direct, and I don't think I ever use that. B-spline or linear are my favoured interpolation settings. Crack erosion colour. So there are, again, we'll get into these, there are effects, one of which is a crack. 2 cracks, sorry. And the colour is connected to crack 0. So what I need to do is select crack 0. I'm also just going to give us back our bricks, because I need to see more bricks. I need to see more brickage in order to show you what the crack does, or the crack erosion colour does. So, at the moment the crack is hidden by the mask, so I can just open that wide up and bring the black to the right, and that'll give me some nice crack. But we'll get into that when we get there. So the crack erosion colour amount is set at the moment to yellow. Not sure why. I set probably for a promotional image. I normally have that set to white. I just feel it's more control. So if you crank this up, you get this. It just fills in the areas as though this is the innards of the brick. For some reason the brick innards are white, but I'd never have it on one. I normally like it quite a fair bit more subtle than that. And if I wanted to, I could change it to a lighter shade of whatever brick colours I've got, or a darker shade. But white, you know, it intones that there's no saturation, no colour. So that's the crack erosion. And if we edit the shape of the crack 0, we're going to edit how the colour is distributed again. That's clearly way too far. So if I drag the black, it's going to have more, again, harsher contrast. So now you can see it goes right up to the edge of whatever the crack has left. Whereas the smoother, don't flip them. Don't flip them. It's not wise. Not like I just did. Thanks, Blender. So normally it's, as I say, it's a subtle effect more than anything. Alright, that's crack erosion colour. So the dirt streaks and the dust, very simple, nearly done. If we mac up the dirt streaks, we get this, and let's make that what we on screen, so I could do with you being black. I need you blacker than black, my friend. And I probably want that, maybe, like, I don't know. There is a reason I'm doing this. And let's just make that scale a bit smaller. Okay, in fact, what I should do, sorry, I just, in order to display this, as I say, everything is very much connected to each other. So the changes I make in one place are going to affect what I see elsewhere. So I need to make that multiply. Because with multiply, the black is disappearing, and anything lighter will show through. So these double the dirt streaks as leaks of water coupled with the roughness control. And again, we will get into this. But all I got to do is crank that mixer over. I might, just for the purposes of this, remove the bump. That line there is just because I haven't reconnected at the bitter end. I've just done a crack mask, a full material check. When you are finished, that there, reconnect here, and then all the messy lines have gone, and it's the bitter end of the chain. So, dirt streak roughness, I need to check that, because it's backwards. I want the black. The black will be reflective, the white will not. So these black areas, excuse me, are going to look like drips once I just reconnect there. And sometimes it's a bit tough to see because you've got to find the light source. I can't find it. Where's the light source? There it is. Eee. So as you can see now, the rest of the wall is untouched pretty much. It's flat. I know I've turned the bump off. It's just to make this abundantly clear that this is, you know, the dirt streaks are now reflective and the wall is not. And if you wanted to bleed some of that back into the wall, you just allow the wall to have more black, and then you should see that now we're starting to spread that area out. Actually, I think you've got to flip it. This isn't the way I'd do it. I'm showing you that, but it's unnecessary. I wouldn't do that. This is specifically to keep the reflectivity on these streaks. I don't want it going across the wall. If I want it to go across the wall, I'd probably just knock in the water. We'll just put in 0.5 of that, so we get a bit of streaks and a bit of wall face brickness, wall face roughness. But for now, we'll put it back to that because there's no need to discuss that yet. Right, finally, dust color. Let's turn. You can mix all of these together, but just because I'm showing you what each one does, it's easier if I don't and just have them solo. So here we have the dust color, and that is what it does. If I Control-Shift-Click this, that happens. So this is a very bitty. It has something called dimension, which if it's too high, it just turns it into globules. The further down the dimension you go, the more bitty it's going to get. And because it's dust, I want it to do that. I want it to be bitty. And let's just click back on, and then I'll quickly show you how one would mix such effects. So, excuse me, screen is not allowing the black and is allowing this. Let's make it more obvious. This pinky stuff, which will turn white. So now we've got these white scuffs, and because it's on screen, it's not overriding anything else. So I can, if I want, bring the dirt streaks in as well. So now I've got the dirt streaks and I've got the dust, and you can just, you know, mix them. You can change the blend modes, but I most of the time multiply and screen is what I use. But that's most of the time I'm only using one color. The black is there to just remove any color, and the white on when you're on multiply is to get rid of it all and just multiply the dark colors. So I don't really change these. If you wanted both of these colors, then you would want to mix them, because now we'll get brown and white. And there are walls that you make and you think, I don't want both. I want these two colors specifically to do the job. So if this one's set to mix, we'll just see black and white basically. So these black areas, because it was set to screen, will disappear and it will only let the white through. So there you go. Loads and loads of control of the color, how it's distributed, the size, the scales, all of it. It's all there. So that's color control. Onwards to displacement control and global scale. There's no point splitting global scale into one tutorial. Hi there, this is Infinite Brick Walder. There's global scale. Put in a number and it changes the bricks. Right, I'll see you in the next tutorial. But I will cover it because there is more use than just changing the size. Okay, so I'll see you at the next one, displacement control. Until then, fare thee well. Bye bye.